Welcome everyone, good night, bonsoir, to another nightly live stream here, the usual open source and stuff. Content, fixing a little bit P3, SGI, MIPS, PowerPC stuff each and every day. Also testing DOCSIS cables, can't make this crap up here. It is a lower bitrate. So usually I usually could stream with 5 Mbit, but yeah. So even with a lower bitrate, usually I stream with 5.5. But yeah, you can't tell me Vodafone DOCSIS cable garbage here that people at approaching midnight here in Germany, 23:43, people all watching some video streams. So thank you very much. Not Vodafone cable garbage, can't recommend this shit. It's hilarious. That's what fancy business cable gives you. Anyway, you have seen the previous live streams, and we had here some strange thing, which is also, yeah, people in the audience. School is closed. They are also in Germany now since tomorrow, I think. So yeah, what else do we have? Brazil, coronavirus stuff, yeah, same all over the world. Luckily, us open source people all know, yeah, warning, your stream's current bitrate, 1.9 Mbit, is lower than the recommended bitrate, no shit Sherlock. Thank you very much, Vodafone DOCSIS cable garbage, 404, even with this lower bitrate. Even at night, you can't tell me that business hours, my ass, not even 5 Mbit here, not making this garbage up. Anyway, sorry for that. Well, let's see how this is. Anyway, job closed too. Yeah, really sorry to hear that. I hope that is, of course, the difference between states in Europe with more social security and people voting for making America great again without any health and social security system. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. What job do you have, if you wanted to share that? Luckily, we do open source, so we earn next to nothing with that, and we can do it every day, which you are here for, sharing, liking, and subscribing. I wanted to take a quick look for our recurring open source failing stuff here, also making P3 and stuff great again. We have here some really strange stuff, meaning that all our archive, well, a new issue accepts that UDEF is broken, previous videos, but one thing that also really bothers me, obviously, probably, is which package. Let's use maybe add, because I think this happened with add. Let's add here, do we have a conf? We have a conf. Hook, so the issue is, what we want to maybe shortly debug, but this live stream will be short, so 20 minutes max. Hook at post make 5 abort. So we just abort this intentionally because I want to see if we maybe have a chance to debug. So x86 or PowerPC doesn't really matter. We could just for the, also this might be slightly clipped. It looks a little bit low on the screen, and maybe it was. So PowerPC 64, 32, job 1, add. Super annoying thing, somehow with our fast but cheap and yeah, a little bit vintage sandbox FLIS tracking technique of LE preloading libraries was also initially, actually, so initially Rock Linux, a little bit of history, initially Rock Linux like 20 years ago, I think it probably used maybe find, at least once upon a time. So the problem with find, like touching a log file and then like find newer than reference log file, of course, stuff could be cheating, stuff could install stuff with an old date, certainly not the most, well, 1998 that was good enough then, or somewhat. Another issue is parallel builds. If you build like even on a Pentium Pro dual processor system back in the day, or fancy Octane Origin, there in 1998, you have 2 concurrent builds and they both install files. You certainly don't know which belongs to what. After that, at Rock Linux we use strace. At least that is, the order might be slightly different or whatever, but approximately 20 years later. strace, of course, nowadays still used for all the sysadmin and developer low-level, error, whatever. I'm probably too tired. Anyway, debug testing, whatnot. strace system call tracing. Issue, of course, strace works quite relatively well, somewhat great. The issue is super slow, like a magnitude slower. So I think probably it was at this when we realized strace is too slow that we did this, or probably, maybe most likely Claire did it there of Rock Linux fame. Anyway, so flist super fast, flist wrapper, LD preload super fast, but of course if you want to be ugly like Rust and do your system calls yourself, then and not using C library program. Anyway, the issue is that it worked great, few issues for 15 years or something, except new system calls like previous video, rename or open-add and all the stuff already added 10 years ago. Of course, open-add and stuff works, but now we have the issue, now there's again a breaking point of stuff is using new stuff. Long story short, that is a summary. This is always the time of, people change something just because. Also, my opinion, this stuff doesn't even need to use the system calls because you don't even need this for CP and move and install. It's probably even a little bit slower because they call the new system calls the open-add and rename add with the special file descriptor relative to current working directory. So it doesn't even give you a thing, except maybe even instead of, so new system call is not automatically faster. Most likely they will be even a nanosecond, like a handful of clock cycles slower for checking this reference file descriptor and comparing it to current working directory. So no benefits, only more work, the usual stuff and open source stuff because ever-changing stuff. By the way, I have no issue with innovation and stuff. Of course, high performance web server stuff and file server stuff like Xamber and stuff certainly should use open-add for high performance relative to some other, but anyway. So let's try, so even this, and again, don't have that much time, it's approaching midnight here. The issue is we can't even test this now because actually probably I should have anyway, I probably should have compiled this file list tracker with debugging stuff. So let's maybe we need to redo this to user bin add or where's add bin add somewhere, okay, bin add whatever, and I guess, so what is really strange is we have two issues. mktemp is using rename add and that is not tracked on a second reinstall because it doesn't even, it's using diff. It's super stupid. You run make install to install something. It's diffing something. If it's different, then not installing it. Super annoying. I don't even know why you need this. If you run make install, it should make install. Whatever. Fancy new stuff. So let's first see make this is built. Let's inst opt and let's see what it's even using. And this is using install. So apparently if, so it would even create this bin directory, because of course usually this bin does exist, and then it's using the local install. Okay, so for wait, not local install. It's actually using the system-wide install. So install, of course, is our flist wrapper. I slightly wonder what this is using, which system, which install comes after that. Okay, not sure. Let's maybe rm this and what, no such file directory. Did we even? Does this not install or what? Why does this not even install? Install user bin. Why is it on user bin? Maybe whatever strange stuff we are doing user. Okay, fine, it's there. Let's see. It's probably, how was it? So let's maybe delete the flist wrapper write log. remove this add. It is removed. Let's install it again. And the whole thing is only an exercise to find out why the heck install install wrapper. What? We have also install wrapper. Interesting. Return code 0 install. Don't even remember the install wrapper. Whatever. Interesting stuff. We wanted FL wrapper flist. Do we not have flist? FL. For whatever reason. Not sure. Yeah, consistent also. Yeah, pro tip, consistent naming. Because if everything is named a little bit differently, then yeah. Read log, write log. So did I? We deleted this and now we don't have a new one. Probably could indicate that did it even install or it is, however, okay, I mean actually it is. Let's do this twice. So let's this is actually what the issue was, that we didn't track this install. Do we? Although we know also that didn't track it. Okay, fine. Let's then, so right now I'm pretty sure, how could we trigger that? Probably a simple copy should trigger that. So if we copy here just some FL, here just some, or just the error log to the root, probably, no. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's first see inst opt, or let's rm add and inst opt with strace log follow children. I'll probably also then the eval here first, and then let's see what system call it's using for that. So that would be bin add exec ve ln. I've running this abbreviated. I hate abbreviated. Probably -f. There's also other abbreviation control options. Super annoying in my opinion. So that was bin ed. Let's see, what do we get there? Stud. There, that is a super long line, obviously, so this is also partially abbreviated. This is the directory though. This is install add, abbreviated, unfortunately, read tty bin. There should have even more. You know what, I should actually probably, by the way, here, is this the final? So it's using user bin install. Maybe it's the same issue of using rename add. So this is open add, the famous new add. And again, this is exactly the thing, add fd current working directory. So this is like wasting performance, like new system code, like literally your decade-old Linux is like performing this millisecond, microsecond, picosecond faster, because it's, so this is using additional arguments, like fancy new system calls that in many cases you don't even need. So yeah, amazing achievement. So again, why, if you didn't understand this yet, more precisely, for the system call, instead of like open a path, now it's like loading another register and loading an additional register with a value, with a special magic value, 80 fd current working directory, which probably is something like -1 or whatever that was. User include rebooted eventually. So, or minus, actually special value -100. I was close with -1, -100, and yeah. So one register load there, and then on the kernel side one compare. So yeah, it's not really much, but yeah, certainly understand for some special use situations that is useful. but certainly not in this. In all of those install, copy, move, whatever. I've like never seen this use another file descriptor reference directory. Therefore, relative. Beside all of those passes are anyway absolute passes, so I probably only for relative passes anyway. So access. There is maybe this. What else do we have? We have stat. That is no no entry, no such follow directory. New fs stat. Okay, new fs stat. Is this of any relevance for us? This doesn't anyway not exist. I mean, it's starting this all over the place. Amazing monolithic kernel performance for no good reason. So then it's writing this open at. So l-stat, f-stat, l-stat, because you can never start something non-existing often enough, apparently, for whatever reason. And then open -100, as we just learned, open at, read, write only, create, exclusive. So we are opening and writing this with open at. Why does it not work then? This is really bizarre. Open at, because we are tracking that. Okay, somehow I'm not really sure why we don't get. Let's delete it again. I'm pretty sure we don't have, for some strange reason. Maybe I broke something now. Let's do this again, just to double check what we get. And yeah, what else do we have going on here? Some people watching. Welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in. As long as people get the paid leave, not a big deal of problem here. The only problem is that many countries don't have sick leave stuff, so that is a little bit. The Graver says GCC 10 heads up. So what does it break? Good evening. There, but yeah, my story of my life, compiler updates breaking shit, which by the way, fun fact, do we have here already, which by the way, you can, you're totally invited using this T2 like a new fresh meat of package directory, and yeah, you're not only welcome using this, like what was the website of LLVM, here, nice dictionary, nicely browsable, and maybe in the more people they use it. So LLVM stable release, soon final text, so probably that is still not released. Okay, so much to that. So let's take a closer look. What is now, although I have the feeling nothing will be in, come on. What do we have in the write log? Let's see, we have a little bit. And so install open user bin add. Okay, no, but no, it is actually in there, which previously we didn't had. And you see that actually, funny that it says symlink add. Did we not rename it? Why do we not? Was this not also open it? Or do we have some renaming for open@? That was shared something. c.sh. No, misc. Something fl c.sh. Open@. So open@ something. I'm now wondering, do we rename this here? Do we map this somehow to? No, we don't. At least not here. Do we have? Yeah, so let's see. GCC will break stuff here. Yeah, not a surprise to me. That's just, yeah. In which way would be interesting? So if you have details like new restrictor, aliasing, I don't know what something. Obviously, still updating GCC with 9 versions. For their Gentoo, amazing stuff. Rust would use its own stuff. Yeah, exactly. Christian says awful somewhere. What you meaning, Brazil or somewhere else? Invariant, yes, Gentoo people tracking which packages have issues. It's quite a list changed. F common to F no common. Oh, this common I saw on macOS and maybe other some vintage embedded stuff of PowerPC, whatever stuff. Yeah, let's do here one more thing. I'm really confused with this stuff. Let's clean up also. I said not too long. Let's use the time here as long as we have people tuning in, but then I really have to go. We also still have some updates that you learn what is new here. Also, by the way, I forgot to run data, darn it. So much to that, but data will take some minutes, unfortunately. Our bot here that I probably in the meantime soon should have. But if it only changed common to no common and the default, maybe it is a worthwhile first thing of just changing the default. I'm not sure what good reason they have for that, but otherwise as a distributor it's not like that I'm caring too much. If it previously was the default, then let upstream people fix it and just change the default back for your Linux distribution, in my opinion, before you spend even more time on that stuff. Interesting also. Didn't log into the data center from this workstation for quite some days, apparently, that it's out of the history. No, come on. Too tired to type or what? And too cryptic passwords probably. So yeah, data center here can never have too many remote logins, and let's copy and paste today's updates because yeah, not even built the other days ones. No, probably maybe a little bit busy, as you can probably imagine. Prima, by the way, some Perl imaging library. Hey, there's a new Perl version that probably will break cross-compilation even more. That's what they usually do. Yeah, this I need to check. There's always some funky stuff going on with this version. Some, if I recall correctly, backup stuff. And yeah, again, this is what we usually have data for, just that, yeah, postfix new version, maybe security related. Often it is. Maybe it isn't. U-boot, whatever. Yeah, maybe I copy and pasted already, didn't update it. Usually I don't really update this each and every version because, YOLO, whatever. Anyway, also Python. Yeah, at Python I reverted already 3.8 broke some stuff. They majorly changed some stuff. So mine, let's uninstall it. So build PowerPC 6432. Let's uninstall it. Also, what? Mine also. And try this again. Here a clean build, but probably then. Yeah, RC4. Yeah, I actually test build it here locally. I have LLVM release candidate 3 or something, but I'm not going to build all of those. Usually, you've seen in the previous videos, usually it's just too much waste of time and resources to test this. So let's see what is going on now. If this now worked magically. Previously, it was like if the file is not there, or you know what, maybe it is not the file. Maybe I was reading this wrong. Maybe it has to do with the install. Maybe it's another install version that is used. You see, now it actually works, I guess, although I'm slightly wondering why it says open, not open at. But also here it's user bin for some reason, not really sure why I was thinking user. So right now it works. I think this probably means it's in the F list. Is it there? It's in there automatically. So maybe it has then something to do. Do we have grep core utils of config reference packages. No, this is also, we are not building this. So then I'm slightly, so then the issue unfortunately is that unfortunately, so yeah, as usual, you take a look. So the problem was that we install the package and sometimes in those new builds, the files were not like tracked as in modified, and then we don't have them in the package. Certainly isn't helpful to build something, sorts of files. So yeah, didn't really learn in something except that yeah, sometimes hunting bugs is easy and is time consuming and difficult and stuff. Then we can test one more thing I wanted to actually try. Do we have, probably we run QEMU like that. Probably we can still. I slightly wonder how was it now. Let's try, I wanted to try one thing. So mount this ISO there. And then kernel init.rd. So for this new UDEF version, which maybe I should, so I maybe just reverted because, so either we reverted or maybe, I said anyway before, we still need to update it to the latest systemd version because now, that we anyway need to update to the latest and greatest version eventually. So maybe I actually give this a try. So this build, theoretically, it's like somewhat, it should be working, but it isn't because regressions. So basically I've modified and fixed the package to install and stuff that it should probably theoretically work, but yeah, it doesn't. Maybe I don't even spend more time with this vintage version because, yeah, and like 283 or whatever that was. And maybe I simply try this Gentoo style of building UDEF from the systemd. Of course, unfortunately, Meson and stuff, but theoretically we can cross-compile Meson because that is always the thing. If you can't cross-compile UDEF, then can't boot your fancy SG Octane or P3 or stuff. And maybe I try this first. If I get this working like in 30 to 60 minutes or something like next weekend or whatever, then because certainly it makes no sense to debug this old version and maybe something is fixed already in the latest version, who knows, whatever is going on there. And so yeah, maybe just like YOLO, whatever this garbage version here, try the systemd integrated stuff, see if that we can get this working. If this also is a total cluster freaking fail, then maybe then after half an hour or an hour or something, I still go back to the last known good version of a decade ago because yeah. Funny enough, the old version of like the decade old version of UDEF could create the device nodes that I even use like for the Spark station, meaning that dev tempfs they only added later, like a decade ago, what every day is using nowadays, this tempfs that automatically creates this core object device nodes of the Linux kernel automatically. So if you have some IDE or serial ATA or NVMe and you have this K object creation for some block device and stuff, it's creating this device nodes in this virtual tempfs, this dev tempfs. And so back in the day, like a decade ago, this didn't even exist. Like dev tempfs is probably maybe 5 years or something plus minus, give or take, or 7 years. And before that, so initially, of course, except people like state-of-the-art people like us at Rock Linux, we were using DevFS, this stuff that Linus Torvalds hated, and except us because it worked. Also, yeah, back in the day, DevFS worked, never had an issue, except Linux kernel developers, no, it's not holy, whatever, Satan and whatever, the devil and whatnot, but it was freaking working, right? And now we have this UDEF and dev tempfs and stuff, and well, it was also somewhat working, but like every year something else is broken. So yeah, so much to, no, you can't do DevFS like DevFS because race conditions or some things like, yeah, I've never seen one, but I constantly see UDEF failure. The issue with this, so in a decade ago, this old UDEF version could create the device nodes because there was no dev tempfs that did this in kernel. And the benefit of this, so I saw already in the README, so in this 7-year-old UDEF, since 7 years, you need dev tempfs because they even write there in the news, in the README file, they write there, feature removal will not create device nodes anymore. Dev tempfs is required. The issue with that is that it actually worked. So a decade ago, you did not need a tempfs, a in-memory RAM disk or something. You could if you wanted to, and I've done so on low memory machines like the SPARC 2 and IPX like 16, or even the AMD 386 previous videos where we booted Linux on a real 386. You could with UDEV, you could not use tempfs because memory restrictions of embedded stuff and good old vintage stuff, and have the device nodes in the file system permanently, physically. And yeah, they removed this, so there goes. Certainly, of course, on modern machines, whatever, YOLO, dev tempfs. But yeah, so the main part, previously a decade ago, the main part of UDEV was creating device nodes. Now, the previous main part they removed basically. Now UDEV is nothing it was supposed to, and only other stuff, like only adding symlinks. So like no device nodes, only compatibility symlinks, because by UUID and by pass and serial number. So yeah, so glorified symlink creation stuff with theoretically module loading, because matching kernel modules, and even that doesn't work here for this. So yeah, thank you very much. The main thing it was supposed to do is not there anymore. The rest doesn't work because whatever. I saw here, so test an event run. I wanted to try this. I've not tried this, so this is live today. Also we can here, so this is scheduled removal. Touch this because not rebuilding this right now. And let's see, did I even run here the same reference? Okay, this is the right one. It's on the data center in parallel. Test build here, those updates. So what do we have here? Calling test, ADM test version 182. This pass parameter. What means this pass parameter missing? Unload module index. What means this pass parameter missing? I have no idea. Is it good or not? Also the built-in test could be test build and test the built-in. Also this without typo. So what I'm wondering, yeah, also even in UDEV, I realized the other day, I didn't clearly point this out in the video because this new breaking, failing, regressing UDEV versions fail is also new to me. I didn't think about this, but yesterday, like probably going home after the live stream or something, it came to me that even UDEV is already violating this Unix one tool for one job stuff, or like single working but perfect tools, and piping them and combining them principle, because previously the decade-old version of UDEV, it was calling like modprobe and stuff. Now they have here this, what I told you, that the UDEV version needs kmod, not module init tools, because it's not even using kmod, like executing it. It's like linking this library. So kmod comes with a library, and yeah, it's not even freaking calling modprobe anymore. So yeah, so much to already, not even before systemd, this UDEV was already, yeah, let's link everything together, the Windows style of whatever. So yeah. So basically you don't even need modprobe anymore. Modprobe is only so UDEV. If you automatically load modules based on PCI USB ID matching, then yeah, it's not even modprobe anymore, because yeah. So I wonder what the self-test will be doing. What we are after is that either I actually plugged in on the P3, I plugged in this USB drive and stuff, and I run this with S-Tray, so there are events coming. So it's not like totally broken, it's doing something, but at least it's not loading the modules for whatever reason. There's one freaking thing they integrated there for better integration, and that doesn't. So let's see, block ID, what does it even do? Syspass missing. What the freaking heck is syspass missing? I have the feeling maybe that is an issue. Kernel firmware loader, firmware. Somehow we get, what do we get? Syspass missing, unload module index. Kmod. It's not really doing much except telling us syspass missing. Okay, fine. What the freaking heck does they mean by that? I have no idea. Let's Google that. Maybe that is the issue here. No idea. Is this bus parameter missing? When run on the drive itself gets unable to open. Here is something. Disable Serial console. Device UDEF rule not being applied on startup but applied using UDEF ADM test. This module print K. It could also be that if it's on startup, it's in the initRD. It's always this initRD. Even in T2, we previously didn't have all the files in there. So this is why sometimes the startup is doing other things, because all the fancy configuration may not necessarily be in the initRD for the early boot up. So yeah, as usual, not the most helpful. We could also, instead of randomly Googling here, what is here? Maybe it needs this part for testing. It needs like this. So what you need is an example to test SDA. Okay, fine. We can't copy and paste it because this. Test. So what was this? So by the way, does it even print this out here for help action? It says, okay, it's fair enough. It says here this part. So this block, do we have here something? Nope. Actually, we have here some really stupid PDK shell for space reasons. Okay, we have here something like even HDC. Do we have here more of which does it want here? No, we have. No, thank you. Go away with this. But we also built here with verbose. Or did we? Config reference. Looks good for me. That doesn't look good for. Looks good for you, but not for me. For yeah. So no verbose, and also, by the way, tempfs. So which this paths are even valid? This block, not really sure if 8. This block does. Do we have the even? No, we don't have. Which would be, you know what would floppy drive not be? It's this parse or whatever. Test this block. Does that work? Hey, that does something. So reading some files, looking up groups, using some rules files. Doing some stuff. That doesn't look too bad though, actually. What we would unfortunately need to test now is, do we have HDA? We unable to open now. HDC we have. I wonder if this has a module alias. Test, what was it? Test built in Kmod. Unable. Oh, what? What? Expect Kmod load module? I don't. Yes, thank you very much. Manual module loading I can do myself. What would it be? That would be okay. Let's probably don't have find here. No, we don't have find lib module kernel. Let's drivers. Do we have some USB stuff here? Probably like, hey, let's USB storage probably should be somewhat testable. USB storage. What? Unable to open. Freaking kidding me. Did you not just say you need a module name? Built-in Kmod expect Kmod load module. Are you kidding me? This is not helpful, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have. Do we have here anything that would be? Do we have even USB? some devices, but do we have, of course we have no PCI ID here. Does this tell us VGA Ethernet? Hey, this Ethernet should load something, shouldn't it? That we probably could try. Whatever, that should be fully modular, so whatever. Key binding, let's not accidentally press here some. Wait a second, which was the last one, right? So this would be this device, oops, bus, PCI, darn, 0, 0, no completion. Wait a second, PCI devices, there's some completion. 3, was it this one? Expect Kmod load module. Build in Kmod, enable unload module index. So, what a fail. Not the only one looking for documentation. What's going on in the comments? So welcome everyone. Good evening, bonsoir, bonsoir. Yeah, but I'm talking, so the Graver says he doesn't think OIDEF needs Meson. I'm not talking OIDEF, I'm talking the regular UDEF. The last time I checked, Gentoo also had UDEF package as, not like OIDEF, but UDEF, as building it out of systemd. So yeah, so Tyria is still looking on regressions. The Graver just said OIDEF does not need Meson, UDEF does. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking actually. Think about building systems. Build system makes Marco rage as well. Love make, but love build clusters even more, considering low powered machines. Stuck with Basil for now. Absolutely hate it, even worse in cargo. Yeah, so what is this test going on? Let's take a test here. So you say if you bool test, so built in. So what do they do if string equals load, expected load module? So it's probably this here, args. So built in Kmod. Yeah, also, yeah, 2020 and UDEF feel like the most error prone C parsing because it is so Linux style. So this is slightly funny. So maybe it wants then some this parse. Do we have this still here like this? And does it then have load? What did we like? USB storage. Expected Kmod load module. Unable to open device. This load R. It only R. What? It doesn't want this with this. Are you freaking kidding me? What were you guys even thinking? It automatically appends this to what? Can't even make this up. This is too stupid for me. So not only like fixed position stuff like args and, but actually, so if, wait a second, if args less than 3 and arg1 not load, then this message. So the first one should be load, and I mean, even this testing is error-prone stuff. And then module load and warn the other arguments like load. What is this test used for? This freaking test thing is not even UDEF in 2020. test arguments not even used because YOLO. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. It's probably time to call it a day and continue another day because, hey, GNOME menus builds amazing stuff, right? But the GNOME stuff I know already, despite the long 6, 7, 10 hour, probably 7 hour. I will just commit the stuff. Let's see how much GNOME stuff we accumulated here because I didn't commit this every day. Also, yeah, super slow data center because, also probably because Firefox recompressing. Actually, only file roller? Okay, fine. But anyway, or is it only file roller? Oh, apparently only file roller. But anyway, let's commit this. Then the GNOME update came here also. Here we have some EFL because, how many files are in conflict actually? Yeah, you see amazing virtualization performance if a little bit aging and stuff. Yeah, but there you see that the Gentoo people with OIDIF have similar things of what I see of like layer, why does it need to be like this, why, and by the way, never change a working system, right? UDEF, I had zero problems. I only updated this, not that people with all the insecurity news here on the more live channel tell me, yeah, but your UDEF is a decade old and has like a handful of security vulnerabilities because vintage C code. So yeah, you want to update this and then like shit, hell breaks loose. Apparently nothing here in, then I probably have somehow, apparently 20, there is some mine, so here, this probably sets a postpone merging stuff or whatever. So at least you see always accumulating random stuff that eventually you need to take care of. What do we have there? So Firefox, this will works anyway. Yeah, so totally wondering what they were thinking with this built-in test built-in. Does so not make sense to me here? What would it work like this? What did we accept? Log FD. It still tries. Okay, so this, it apparently wants this as the first anyway, and then it wants load. And would it work if we put load here? I mean, what a garbage. Can't make this shit up. I have the feeling this test stuff also would need to debug where this stuff is coming through. This arguments makes no sense. This test stuff is garbage. Yeah, so probably would need to debug more. For example, how could we debug this? We could actually, you know what, we could try this test run on, well, also one thing is of course always like attach a debugger, but of course early boot stuff, not a debugger there. And of course you can make everything work with remote debugger and adding custom init stuff here with debugger and fun stuff. But eventually it's also, yeah, previous version worked. So either I probably next test like this build doesn't really, it works a little bit, but not really because yeah, YOLO and Linux kernel C quality code stuff. And probably I try to update this and see if the latest version just works. Probably maybe not, but maybe we are lucky. And if this also fails, maybe I just revert here to the previous because this is just too stupid. One last thing, let's see what happens if we test here with this device piece. Do we have PCI? PCI? We have something, but nah. Okay, then let's try bus PCI devices. This I think was it 6. Hello, nah. The early boot stuff, shell completion is not amazing if you don't have an amazing shell. I mean, at least it does some completion, but not very sophisticated. 3 we have. Maybe it was 3, let's see. Here, so this is 8086, 1000 something Ethernet probably. Let's double check here of PCI device 8086. Ethernet controller. Yeah, so this is Ethernet controller. Maybe the issue is also not directly UDEV, but because oh, wait a second, here's driver. You know what, this is funny, look at this. UDEV ADM test, this bus PCI, so this rule stuff matches, so the action add, so this is all honky-dory, all amazing thumbs up stuff here. Dev parse, here, this is all correct, driver, mod alias, and here, so it's not like kmod that has this depmod-a for creating this mod alias file, database files. So the mod alias here is the driver here, so this is correct, so it should freaking, so maybe the issue is just, but there you see, I'm not making this shit up. It's simply freaking not working. The booted, let's see, do we have this driver in here? But I think we have this driver in here because otherwise it wouldn't have it in the mod alias here, because the T2, the default T2 init.rd includes all the most useful drivers like Ethernet, IDE, serial ATA, NVMe and VirtIO and stuff. So I guess it should be in here. That should be kernel net Ethernet something. At least I would think so. Where do we have? Oh, wait a second. It might be driver net, because why not? E1, or do we have Ethernet and then E1000 or Intel, because can never have. So yeah, it's probably there. Yeah, it's there. And let's see if it's loaded. It's probably not loaded. Proc modules and, oh wait a second, we have this E1000. That is interesting. We don't have RM mod. Oh wait a second, but we have Kmod now. Kmod RM mod. Nah. What is this? Optional load list. Unload. Nah. Because they had to rename it. Why should it be still? Hello? Command options. Why does this not work? Why does unload not do something? This is hilarious. It says unload, or what should be the command? Come on. Probably. Yeah, so maybe I don't have kmod here. Doop-de-doop. Of course, you need a presentation for that, for unloading a kernel module. It's not even saying it in this bloody presentation, apparently. Oops. You know what we can do? We have ln. We probably have ln. We can create the symlink ourselves. So user bin lns which order was it? Darn. Sometimes I mix this, especially if it's link foo to bar link kmod to that worked, whatever the syntax of this kmod shit is. Can't mix this up. It was not either. So I tested unload rmmod, it didn't work. I tested, but what does it say? Options, command options. Kmod also handles gracefully code from the following symlink. So unload doesn't work, rmmod doesn't work. Also, I have no idea. Garbage. Anyway, yeah, you could make it intuitive or you can make it what? Yeah, I symlinked it, but I wonder what the bloody freaking command is, because the bloody freaking command doesn't work, at least not there. Anyway, so the reason I unloaded this is I wanted to see if when we run this test, like this, hey, this loaded this. So at least this bloody loading works. So far so good. Did it really load on boot? I don't really quite, but you know what, we have a virtual machine, we can, but this is also strange. It's anyway strange that you run this UDEF ADM test stuff with this pass here, and this built-in kmod exit garbage, it still prints unload module index. What unload module index? It still sounds like it is not happy anyway. Let's just for a test, I'm curious when we just boot if we get this. Probably, we definitely don't get this for USB on the P3 and also not for USB in QEMU for PowerPC NV non-virtualized. Also another day I need to patch that. Do we have scroll back? Oh, actually it is loaded here. So actually this works here. So that is more than I... Okay, so then this module loading works in theory, then we only have a couple of other things to hunt, including, well, PowerVR. On the P3, the issue is, I would show it more often, but the problem is my 2-camera setup only works when I boot this binary-only garbage Epiphan previous video dongle stuff here, and I only have here this bloody binary-only Fedora kernel, the only combination that in one afternoon I could get this thing working. This is why I don't always tune in, and if I broadcast here something like with P3 or something, or where I want a second camera, then I always boot the workstation, this bloody 4.18 Fedora binary-only garbage stuff that where this Epiphan nonsense works of binary, not amazing binary-only stuff. Otherwise I would just show it to you here. But so the issue is on the P3 something more crazy happens, because if we boot this on the QEMU PowerPC NV non-virtualized PPC64, then it boots, but we don't have keyboard, probably because it looks from the open firmware printout there from QEMU that it is USB attached, and I have the same issue on the P3. On the P3 I have an additional issue. So first of all, you boot like the latest build, and you don't have USB keyboard, so you don't have any input, so you basically can do nothing. Certainly totally uncool. I have one more thing on the P3 that is not showing on the emulator for some reason, which is I get total garbage printed. So not only like not text garbage, but something binary must be printing, because I get there lots of binary gibberish garbage, and I have no idea why this is happening. And certainly it doesn't help that I don't have USB keyboards then with the latest build to actually debug this. But I mean, it looks like it's not like hopelessly broken. the kernel module loading works and the rules matching works, so at least it works a little bit, just like, yeah, we have garbage output and we have no working USB keyboard, so yeah. Anyway, maybe it could be very theoretically, maybe we, you know what, maybe we test this, but actually, okay, the issue is we can't really test this because we don't have keyboards. This makes this really error prone to test. We could power NV with, for example, probably, no, we didn't mount this. This is so wrong. No, we tried to load an x86 kernel. That certainly isn't helpful either. Let's mount this PowerPC. By the way, I hope I even show that here. And then it's too late anyway. Let's do it again with the PowerPC kernel. Why does it, oh wait a second, right, this didn't work for some strange reason. Quemu, and I tried two different things. All right, this was either P series. This did something better, maybe. But the issue is, maybe we need to get serial port working for this, because this is only partially helpful. The question would be, you see USB keyboard and mouse here on this open firmware, whatever. So the kernel boots we get, but we get here no output whatsoever of you know what could be the issue? I slightly wonder. So we didn't get there any output of module loading, and we can do nothing now because, as similar to the P3, our input completely doesn't work. So one lesson also learned, so not only there's always some Heisenberg, and tracking this stuff is somewhat error prone and time consuming. I have one more suspicion, because UDEF is linking. I slightly wonder, because UDEF wants, or UDEF links to this, but I think I have module init tools built for PowerPC 64. Maybe it's not using this. Maybe for the PowerPC build. What is here in the log for UDEF? Kmod, yes. But Kmod might default to, how is this even linking? I thought I might have. Where is even, darn it, less for our ADMF list. Maybe there is something, but it says linking and stuff. Yeah, this is 64-bit. What is it even linking to? Because we have this, maybe the bracket is only my, so you see hours into debugging and analyzing what's going wrong here. Maybe this is only, I optimize here 32-bit user space for you playing along at home to make the most out of your PS3. And this might be causing, wait a second, why is this 32-bit, what the heck? Why is this a 32-bit binary there? That certainly doesn't make sense. Okay, this explains why it's linking, and then it's anyway not working. But yeah, so much to UDEF links and this stuff for no good reasons, and then you have this B-arch, multi-arch stuff. Maybe it works somehow accidentally. I slightly wondered, would a PowerPC 32 Kmod be able to load 64-bit kernel modules? I have no idea. Previously, that probably would usually not work with module init tools. Maybe that is still the issue after all, given that it doesn't really work much. That would be kmod. Maybe I should just make a pure 64-bit PowerPC build and see if that works again. Probably it would be helpful if we would have working console and if we, well, not probably, it would definitely help. Where is my QE mode? The problem is that serial stdio and append let's see, someone said the other day was deterred Linux kernel OF console. Was there something special for OF? Because TTYS0 did not work the other day. Well, it does something, but it's somehow not booting from memory. Linux PowerPC, I mean, 1 SMP Sun March. Whatever. Do we have helpful stuff here? Yeah, we're lucky, famous lost words. I don't care too much if GNOME KDE requires systemd. I will not. I rather write my own microkernel before starting. Yeah. Cool retro term. Yeah, exactly. Cool retro term. Now the RM mode, it depends, but the problem is that this this amazing new kmod command only spit out error messages and didn't even try to do a thing. So yeah, not many more stuff to commit here. So yeah, this kmod stuff here, maybe that is potentially, we could actually, where was this presentation? Does it or does? I slightly wonder, of course you Google for that and only get random nonsense. The problem was that this command didn't do a thing. Whatever. So maybe this is a thing, at least in the x86 build it works somewhat. So I slightly wonder how they, you know what, maybe before we wonder, maybe we quickly close this, but then I really need to leave. Download mirror. That was K for Kmod. 20 was a 27. In probably libkmod. And do they have here nothing PowerPC related in here? Maybe this is so portable that it doesn't need any quirks. I have no idea. Yeah, C programming in 2020, because it's so amazing that you need your own array hash and scratch buff, string buff, and util implementation. Amazing language. Not maybe this is so portable that it wouldn't even matter. Again, we could easily test this if we would have a terminal. You could, of course, check qemu power nv Linux serial console question mark. So what do they have there? The default, so no graphics, serial PTY. What do they have append? They don't have any additional append there. Let's try with no graphic and see if this automatically works somehow. And then we call it a day. Which I said already, but no, we really call it a day. Where is now my... did I close it or what? Whatever. So then... no graphic or graphics. Serial studio, did we not... okay, this is superfluous. It's no graphic is already, I guess, default to that. Let's see if that magically fixes the thing. Thanks somehow here for some strange reason. Amazing emulation stuff. What did we run? PowerPC 64. We could try, what was this with, what was the machine? Was it Power NV? Hey, are we so lucky to have a working console? At least something works today. Ah, darn, this was the wrong keyword. We need 6.4. Bring your own shell for experts. Also hydration. Ah, damn, don't press enter too often. There. Okay, fine, time to read the comments. Also, YouTube is not receiving... Also, yeah, middle of the night. I mean, don't tell me all the neighbors watch Netflix at past midnight here. Vodafone just documenting the garbage that is totally unrecommendable business stuff of not receiving smooth something here. Thank you. Of also, do we even 10,000? Are we even still online at all? Test can make the shit up. So finally 6 here, right? And let's kmod list. But something is loaded, but the question is, so many of those we hard-coded load. So at least modprop works. So udef RDM. Oh, udef ADM doesn't work because libkmod stuff. Oops, that explains a thing. Certainly, totally, 100%ly, I would say. So much too. You could have saved 2-3 hours. Also, yeah, what I would do, I would do all the stuff completely different in my microkernel. It's probably, we should really certainly. So given that this kmod, probably we can just mine rf kmod then of binary package deinstalling stuff. Given that this kmod apparently maybe is now somewhat portable and we need it for udef anyway for our 32-bit optimization stuff. That is here in architecture, PowerPC 64, that would be parse config, I guess. Then I just recently added it here, but then we don't need it here. And with it removed there, it should actually build in libdir. So then, not really sure why our LD. So the only unfortunate thing, theoretically, I really wanted to go really home. No, yeah, we have one. I will test this tomorrow because the unfortunate thing is that we can check that it's in the right path now in flist kmod with libdir. So this is obviously correct and not like 32-bit anyway, but the only thing is we now need to rebuild the kernel, which will take some 6-7 minutes, and I actually really want to go now. Because reason certainly, so yeah, then we hopefully maybe this was so somewhat at least on PowerPC, although it is strange that booting that on, did this work on x86 the other day? What was the result there? Right, the result was we couldn't boot with grub 2, that was the issue. Anyway, so yeah, then maybe somewhat homemade and also all our over-optimization, although it is still the initial enablement of if you create highly optimized. By the way, there would be one thing for those who tune in or watch the whole string and stuff, which by the way, you can also, if you are bored these days, staying at home, go through the library of hundreds of videos of this stuff and just watch it, or leave it running in a corner of your apartment to support us. Because the one thing I think the original Game OS stuff of Sony runs in this MIPS like N32 or X33 of AMD 64 like X32, ABI of running in 64-bit mode with 32-bit pointers. This gives you all the benefits of larger, or in x86 case X32, this high performance, latest and greatest. Very few people, even I have barely tested it, but maybe we should for the Linux and you playing along at home for the even highest performance regular binaries. This gives you on x86 all the benefits of not only more registers, 16 instead of half of this with special purpose meaning stuff, but also larger registers, 64 instead of 64-bit instead of 32-bit. And MIPS certainly, not sure if MIPS were the first ones there on the Octane for exactly this. 64-bit benefits with 64 and 32-bit benefits of wider registers but still smaller pointers for better cache utilization, better memory utilization. And x86, they on the Linux side this also exists, and on the P3 I think in Game OS they run like this, as far as I remember. I don't think we have the support in the open source toolchain on Linux and BSDs and such, but theoretically it would be possible, although as usual with the Linux kernel it is special work to have the kernel ABI, also special work certainly to implement this in the compiler, and C library, so all over the place, super huge project for a tiny little, theoretically maybe performance gain, but yeah, just some random stuff that theoretically you could do some fun stuff. But by the way, do we have here hold of reboot or whatever? So little we have. By the way, do we have here cd this was proc kernel? Oh no, not this kernel. Do we have here? There was a magic system request in. Okay, we can also. Oh no, we can't. If I click there, then we. Anyway, probably will not do that, except maybe theoretically in our own. But this is also the cool thing. Maybe next, also for me to do something funny, because this, or yeah, like fun as in fun, and not this other people's garbage code. Theoretically, certainly sometime soon, we need some what we've done for like DOS or RISC-V for our microkernel long-term making operating systems great again, project stuff. We would need low-level stuff of compiling, for example, the most minimal example stuff on all the architectures we want to support. So if we want to support MIPS, ARM, PowerPC, x86, and so on, Spark, then we would need some low-level boot up enablement stuff, and then with open firmware console, for example. So certainly maybe a collection of those early startup code stuff to be done. And then you could also easier test with this. So this is also a little bit lacking in the open source community. We have these big kernels, but not as nice test setup code as in most minimal firmware. Exactly for testing this, you could compile some minimal benchmark and boot this just for testing without like porting forever the Linux kernel and compiler and everything, just some basic startup enablement stuff, and then benchmarking your performance of 32-bit pointers and 64-bit mode. Anyway, let's see. So this Linux kernel, so theoretically it should be soon built anyway, after we talked so long over this stuff. IDM log. Let's see. We need to recompile the kernel because because exactly of this init.rd packing. Slightly wonder, does it? It should lib. What was it? Kmod. So yeah, now it's there. So somehow I'm not really sure why. I think it should probably have tracked lib, not really sure, but anyway, it was in the wrong directory anyway. It's even if it would have worked for some magic reason, it would not have been pretty. So yeah, kernel build. Let's also, do we even have no comments after my test apparently? Maybe, probably late for everyone, including for myself. But still, I wonder what happened on the P3 that we have such a binary garbage printed there on the boot up. What that could be, but anyway. Let's see if this comes up. So kernel build, then let's run this. This will create the also ed, because we just removed it. Thank you very much. So yeah, very few, as per previous live stream, very few stuff missing of basically SES. Who needs that? And Python Perl, be my guest, send some patches in, needs to cross compile again. So let's see if that is also some debug printout that I enabled there. So yeah, this is creating this additional boot up stuff for the installer. Let's create some ISO once again here. Let's U-mount and remount again. Let's hope that didn't clobber something over. So yeah, theoretically the big test, but probably we test first. And this time I don't press enter too often for nothing. So that would be, was it udev? U8 diff ADM. Test this. What did we had previously? Or did I just test actually? Ah, right. I just run udiff ADM, and that already didn't work because, yeah. Also, previously this would not have even been the case. Previously, udiff was a self-contained binary. Now it needs a handful of libraries, but now this even works. So this could probably, so maybe tomorrow lunch break or something in between, we can finally, maybe this is, it's somewhat usable state then. And in general, if you are here, in general, you can leave me in the comments below what you're here for. This random Linux low-level educational stuff or P3. And if P3 or other Octane stuff, leave me in the comments below what you want to see, like what games, what emulators. So this would be, I wonder slightly, Kmod probably also didn't work before. Did we test it? Anyway, one mystery solved. Let's see what happens on the P3 if I would have, I could plug out the camera, but yeah, anyway, see you. This is also why you shouldn't get something that is binary only kernel driver garbage in Linux, which also, fun fact, we still need to reverse engineer it already. Someone else has done this for the VGA version, but then we need to do the, which probably is quite identical just for the, anyway, FPGA bitstream and stuff. So at least some progress. Also, yeah, for all the debugging stuff, we have here in svn diff target, that would be or generic, which probably we want to commit, I guess. Update this minimal exoc a little bit of modern, or whatever, update it. Minimal package, so just a little bit, whatever. Also, we probably need a password for that because, nah. And one more thing, this was svndi target shared of install. I have some debug prints out in there. Oh, actually also some, yeah, some ZX. So actually some stuff is even a little bit improvement. ZX is enabling X-trace for the shell tracing here of what is actually running. But it's also including, except here, tiny little bit, this is just white space stuff grouping, but this is actually potentially even making this installer a little bit smaller. We had the huge issues of having this modern, you see even our vanilla, most minimal stuff so bloated of big stuff that it didn't boot on the 256 megabyte retail P3, which is also why we got ourselves a fine tool one. Potentially, most likely in the previous build, we have the glibc 64-bit version. With this change here, as marked here, we have a tiny little hard coding logic stuff for using only the glibc 32-bit flavor for this special optimized build. So there is probably another maybe 10 megabyte if we are lucky of the smaller. Also, with all the bloat kernel modules and all the other fun stuff, size usually increases faster than we can remove stuff, but yeah. So then I will test it tomorrow, report back, and hopefully we have soon some more colorful stuff running, and then we can continue wasting our time with RSX, NVIDIA, fun stuff and other. But anyway, as usual, probably some other NVIDIA, Riva, TNT2 stuff, enablement first or something. But anyway, hope you learned something. Good night, stay healthy and awesome, and leave me comments below, share, like and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon for the next fun stuff to come.